To the Road Show this morning in the Buzz, brought to you by the Comedy Connection. Turns out, guess what, everybody? Money can buy you happiness. In a new experiment, 200 people were given $10,000 and 3 months to spend it. 3 months? I could spend that in 5 minutes. And research claims it did buy happiness because the people had a higher happiness level even months after the money was gone.
But some weren't happier by this experiment. Those with household incomes above $123,000 did not report noticeable improvements in their happiness. And
Right.
all right, I think that does play a part in
Yes,
it, right? It's all relative.
absolutely.
If you've already kind of living a certain lifestyle,
Right.
then $10,000 might not make as much
Right.
of a difference.
Yeah.
But that is huge for a lot of people.
sure
And
it is.
I think the saying is wrong when they say money can't buy happiness. I think it can. I don't think money will make you happy. Like, people with money, just because you have money doesn't mean that you're happy. I think
Right.
that should be it, right?
Right, yes, it's
But
true.
I think money can buy happiness because let me tell you, Will, most of my stress and anxiety, my woes are all financial related.
Right, yeah,
so I
sure.
feel like if that was taken out of the picture, if you could catch your breath or like pay off some debt or
Right.
do whatever, that would make me happier.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people that's their main cause of anxiety and stress level is not having the money to pay. $10,000, like I said today, is nice. It would be very nice. But is that $10,000 really going to change your life that much? Look, if you won $1 million, right?
Yeah.
I was saying this morning, you get about $650,000. I think that is more of a life-changing thing than
Yes.
$10,000. $10,000 is great. Look, I'd take the $10,000. I'd be thrilled with it.
I know what you're saying. $10,000 doesn't go as far
Isn't
today
gonna go as far.
as it used to.
But the $650,000, that would probably really be life-changing into a real happier place.
But it's not saying life-changing money.
No,
I
no,
think it's just,
right.
will you be happier? Will this make you happy? And if that means
sure it would
you
make
can
me happy.
finally go on a family vacation,
Right.
or you can just catch your breath for a
Sure,
moment,
sure.
or maybe like not work a third job, whatever
right.
it is,
Yeah.
just to like have that little breathing room.
Yeah.
I think it's very helpful. Now, even like $50,000 could be a
$50,000
bit
would be-
more
that
too.
would be great.
And it stinks that we're saying this because $10,000 is a good chunk of change.
It
I
is.
don't want to discredit that. But like you said, sadly, the cost of everything, you will quickly go through that.
Yeah, 10,000 you could probably be through in like 2 minutes. But the 50,000, I agree,
That could
would
even
be great.
give you a little more than 3 months.
If you have student loans or something like that, if you want
Yeah.
to buy a car or put money down
Yeah.
on a car, or even put money down on a house for yourself,
Right.
that if you want to buy a house, that
That's
also would be
huge.
great.
So I do think that money can bring you happy.
Right. I think it
Brendan,
could buy
do
you
you think
happiness.
that's right? But we also know those people who have millions and gajillions of dollars that are miserable.
Imagine the happiness of the person who won that last Powerball.
Well-
Don't tell me money can't buy you happiness.
A couple of things. First of all, 10 grand, I got that on me. No,
Yes.
I don't.
all
Michaela, Michaela, you're right. It's like you think about how that could change someone's life, either on a small level or a massive level, even if it's just taking care of some debt you have
Right.
that's causing you a lot of frustration,
Right,
a lot
right,
of
right.
angst, a lot of worry. It would be nice just not to have that on your mind all the time because,
Right.
the cost of living is always increasing and we're all trying to get by and you just don't want to be worried about everything.
Sure.
Exactly.
Now, with respect to the Powerball, I mean, think about all the people coming out of the woodwork. Oh, can I have money now from you? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind being in that position.
Sure. So you turn your phone off.
Right, exactly.
Change your number.
Yes.
Then people would need something from me and I would decide whether or not I would help them and then they would owe me. So, it would be a great situation. All kidding aside, a little bit of extra cash can really help people out, especially
Yeah.
when those bills are piling up.
Right.
Definitely.
All right, let's check in with our viewers. Here's what you guys had to say when it comes to money buying happiness, all that great stuff. Let's see. Barbara says, all I need is enough to be comfortable and to have some extra play money. I love this, to go out to eat or a concert or buy new boots. Right. Little things like that. I could use some new sneakers or a new guitar. Why not? Little extra cash can help you do that. John would be happy with enough just to pay off my house. Absolutely. A lot of people would love to be able to do that, would give them some financial freedom to maybe use the money elsewhere in other capacities. Linda says it can pay the bills. However, it cannot buy happiness. That's true. I feel like I worry about money, but if I had it, then the worry would be replaced with something else. And Dante says, I love this. Money can buy pizza. Pizza is happiness. Yes, money can buy happiness. Right there, he's succinct. He's on point. Thanks, Dante. You should write fortune cookies. Pizza is happiness. Thanks for chiming in, everyone. Please keep those comments coming. Follow us at The Road Show. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I feel so authoritative with my rolled up script. Follow us, comment, and you never know, we might read your comment right here on the air. And still to come this morning on The Rhode Show.